Thanks for joining us today. I'm Steph from Morningstar, and I'm here with Mark LaMonica, who's the Individual Investor Product Manager, to talk about the new experience we're building for Morningstar Premium subscribers. So, Mark, would you like to tell us a little bit more about what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely, Steph. So, exciting time for us here at Morningstar. So next week we'll be launching the first features on the new website that we're building for our premium subscribers. So just to go through a little bit of the plan of what we're doing, we're going to incrementally add features to this website for our subscribers over the course of 2019. And planning on hopefully finishing up the site by the end of the year before we do a full migration. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the vision that we have in building this new site. What we really want to do is design a site that's around the tasks that investors actually perform. So we really want to talk about, where are we from the beginning of an investment journey where you want to discover new investments to when you're moving into actually validating some investments, so maybe some ideas you got from advisors or from people at a barbecue, and you want to validate what these investment ideas are. We want to talk about portfolios, so we want to talk about how people build and track portfolios. And then finally, we really want to make sure that people are able to learn more about investing. So that's really the vision that we have, and I think throughout the whole thing, we really want to make sure that the Morningstar investment philosophy comes through in the website. So long-term, fundamental-driven, really focused on valuation, and of course the independence that we have as a company.
Right. So what do you mean by incrementally add new features?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. When we sat down as a team before we launched this website, we really thought that we were going to take the traditional approach. So really build the whole website, and at a certain time we would release the website, and after it's released, everybody would be migrated over, and hopefully everyone would like it. Yeah. But when we started thinking about that approach, we thought that's not really what Morningstar stands for. We're really investor first. When we have new features that we think will help people become better investors, we want to release them. Yeah. So really what we're going to do is we're going to, as I said before, we're going to release features when we think it will make a difference in people's investing outcomes. And that gives us really two things. So number one, obviously it helps our customers. It helps people reach better investment outcomes. The other side of things is we get feedback, and we do want people's feedback from the site. So that's really important as well. Yeah.
So how does this affect our subscribers and trialists? What does it mean for them?
No, that's a great question, and obviously something we need to explain. Yeah. So the way that we think it affects people is it makes your subscription to Morningstar Premium better by giving you new features, and I'll go through some of those features a little bit later, but we are taking nothing away. So the current website that we have, all of the value that we deliver to customers right now will still be available, the entire time that we do this migration. So there really is no impact. So it's literally the same login and password will both work on both sites. So hopefully this is just supplemental information that people will have.
Right. So you mentioned before that one of the main reasons that we are releasing these features incrementally is to get some feedback. So I'm interested, and I think many of the people who are watching are also interested as to how can they provide that feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different ways. I think number one, in the invite for this Facebook Live event, my email address is in there, so you can email me directly with any feedback you have. You'll also notice, and I'll show you when we go to the website, you'll also notice there is the opportunity to click on a little field that says feedback in the bottom right-hand corner of the website, so they can provide feedback directly through there. And the other thing is that if you would like to be involved in focus groups, come into our office, discuss the website, and provide us feedback that way, we would love to have you. So you can also email me to arrange that.
Right. So do you think you can show us the first features that are being released?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me, of course, I need to log into my computer. All right, so yeah, I can show you a couple of features. So this is the website. This is what will be released on Monday. So starting out, obviously, we do have our editorial information. So we can see here the Stay Informed tab that we have. So you can see all of our top stories. Of course, for people that are interested in Your Money Weekly, you can go on to the Your Money Weekly tab. So actually today, this is the overview that will be published. So Peter Warrens is out this week, but Brian Hahn will be filling in, so you can see his overview. So you can read all of our content. The other good thing is this website is fully mobile enabled. So you will be able to read this on your smartphone, on a tablet, anything else that you're interested in. You can see some of the research that's on here as well. And then one big feature that we're releasing is we are expanding our research coverage. So right now, we provide research coverage on approximately 200 equities in Australia, as well as our managed funds and ETF coverage. We're expanding that to all of our international equity coverage. So you can see here is an example of our research on Facebook, which I thought was appropriate since we are on Facebook Live. So really it's expanding our coverage from the Australian and New Zealand securities to over 1,500 securities across the US, Europe, and Asia. So
that's great.
That's certainly a big expansion. I can show you a little bit of the page that we actually have here. So you can read the full analyst report on here. And then we do have data throughout the page as well.
Sure.
And then finally, the other tab that we're releasing is our Discover Investments tab. And really, the Discover Investments tab is an opportunity for you to find new investment ideas. So it's really centered around the Morningstar ratings. So in this case, we're looking at equities on this first tab, and go a little bit into how we think about the equity world. We're really looking for two things. We're looking for shares that we think are trading for below what our analysts think they're worth. So you can see a variety of screens on here, looking for 5-star stocks across the different regions that we cover now. And then also stocks with moats. So a moat is a competitive advantage. So that's something that we feel pretty strongly about Morningstar as well. So you can see the different screeners. Our global equity best ideas, for example. Click through the screener and you'll get the results. So you can see the different stocks in this case that our equity analysts have put onto our global best ideas. And then also we have in Discover Investments. Same thing for funds and ETFs. So our highest rated funds and ETFs that get medalist ratings, once again, spread across the world so that you can get exposure to different asset classes that way. So those are the main features that we're releasing initially. And obviously, we'll continue to provide more detail on those.
Right. Now, that sounds great. So finally, I think we're getting a couple of questions from the audience. So if you're happy with it, I'd like to read them out.
Okay, we'll see what the questions are. But,
I promise they're appropriate.
Okay,
so the first one is, what were some of the inputs you gathered to design the new website?
Yeah, I think there's lots of different places we've had inputs. Obviously, I've been at Morningstar a little over 2 years. Over that time, I've spoken to a lot of our current premium subscribers, people that were not premium subscribers. We've done this informally at conferences. We've done this through focus groups. We've done this through surveys. And really, we wanted to, as I was talking about at the beginning, we wanted to really understand the investment journey that people went through and design the site around those activities.
Right. No, that sounds great. So, and second question would be, when the new site goes live, are both trialists and subscribers able to access any features?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the new site will be completely password protected. So in order to get to the new site, you need to either be a premium subscriber or have access to premium through a 4-week premium trial, the free trials that we have. And it's the same password, same login that works on our current site will work on our new site.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I think this will bring us to a third question and last question.
Yeah.
So we have at the moment. So can you tell us a bit more about the research coverage expansion?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk a little bit more about what I covered. So we as Morningstar, we're a global company. We have teams of equity analysts spread across the world, in Asia, in Europe, in North America. And on our current site, we only offer the research that is performed by our team here in Sydney. so covering a little over 200 Australian, New Zealand securities. There is a lot more interest in global investing. So that's one of the things, it's a good example of what we talked about before, that we keep hearing in these surveys. People are looking to get more exposure overseas. So whether that's ETFs and funds, which we've always offered, but also people want to buy direct equities. So we've seen a lot of the online brokers in Australia starting to introduce this to their customers, and naturally people want to know potentially what they should buy. So I think the expansion of the research coverage to include another 1,300 equity securities is pretty valuable.
For sure.
Certainly to me.
Exciting news coming up. And so another question we're getting is, what are some improvements coming up? Sorry, we covered that one. What are the next features that will be released?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously I talked about how we will incrementally release features. It's really going to be two things that we're doing. The team right now is working on some of the screeners. So I've showed you on Discover Investments some of the pre-configured screeners. The team's really working through now user-defined screeners. So once again, accessing from an equity standpoint all of our global data. From a fund and ETF standpoint, we'll once again just be funds and ETFs domiciled in Australia. That's probably the next thing that's going to come out. So you can go in there and set your own criteria to find securities. And then the big thing that we are working on is portfolio. So once again, we really want to provide people with guidance on how to build a portfolio. So particularly from people that are starting either from scratch or don't really understand how to build a portfolio. We want to provide guidance on that. And then the other side of that, obviously, we want people to be able to track their portfolio, how the performance is going, how our ratings may change on securities in their portfolio. So we're building a portfolio manager feature. So those are probably the next two big things that we're working on. But obviously, the team will continue to make progress.
Yeah, that's very exciting to hear. And then we also have like a question about leaks. So will you be expanding LIC coverage?
So the coverage, so we are offering from an equity standpoint, these are companies that are already covered by Morningstar. It's just not available to our current customers. So in terms of actually expanding coverage, that is a decision made by the research teams. So I can certainly get back to whoever asked that question and go talk to the research team. I do think they're becoming increasingly popular. I know there's a lot of new issuance lately, so my expectation is that they would expand their coverage, but don't quote me on that. Let me follow up with the research team, and I can let this subscriber know.
Right, and so we also got a question from Joyce Williamson, and so it's asking what differentiates you from other investing sites.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I would say the one thing that now differentiates us is we do offer international research. So, Morningstar is a global company. Previously, we have not provided all of the capabilities that we have globally to our local subscribers. So I think that is one big difference. I think the other thing is just Morningstar as a company. So I think really the investment philosophy, our investors first mantra that we built the company on ever since it was founded in the mid 80s. I think that's really the thing that separates it. So, our investing style is not for everyone, but if you are a valuation driven investor, if you're a long-term investor and you believe in some of the tenets that we've defined as what a Morningstar investor is, I think that differentiates us from other sites.
Absolutely. So those were all the questions.
I think we have one more, since everybody in the room is signaling there's one more.
We have one more?
There are actually other people
I'm getting it now, okay. So if I'm new to Morningstar, where is the best place on the site to get started? That's the new questions we
Okay, absolutely. So I think for the new site, there is a tab that I'd not show you because it's the information that we have, but I can quickly show it to you now.
Sure.
So looking at the new site, the best place to start is our What's New feature. So really it outlines what we are going to build. And as we incrementally put new features on here, they'll be outlined. So here's some of the things I talked about. Global coverage, so there's actually an opportunity for you to go and see where this global coverage is. stay informed. So, you can go and view all our top stories. You want to read Your Money Weekly, Peter's Overview, generally Peter's Overview, this week Brian's. You can go on to view our top stories and then discover investments. And we will continue to build out this page as we put new features on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Are those all the questions? Do we have anything else?
I think we've got one more.
Yeah, it's coming across. Just.
Yeah, we literally have this relay going where they're typing over there, and then we're waiting for it to show up. It's technology at its best, right? So.
Yeah, it's shouldn't take long. Okay, so we have a question from Andrew Maggs. Will the portfolio feature have easy feed from investment platforms?
I will say that we are working on that. So that's certainly something that we're looking into. We understand, obviously, maintaining a portfolio where you do have to go in and enter all of the trades is cumbersome.
Yeah.
So that's something we are exploring, and hopefully I can talk a little bit more about the specific features we're going to put into portfolio soon. But I do understand that's something that everyone is very interested in, and we're very aware of that.
Sure. Yeah, so those are all the questions.
Okay, great.
I'll leave you if you want to add any other comments.
Yeah. No, I think we're really excited to launch this site. It's been a long time coming, too long, and I think I would really appreciate any feedback that anybody has. So once again, email me, hit the feedback button on the bottom right-hand side of the page. The only way we can make something that you will love is if you tell us what we can do better and areas that you like. So thank you guys very much for joining us today. Mark and Steph from Morningstar.
Morningstar.
Any advice in this video is general advice prepared by Morningstar without reference to your financial objectives, situation, or needs. You should consider the advice in light of these matters and any relevant product disclosure statement before making any decision to invest.